Hello and welcome to Fast and Factual. My name is Utsaf Parekh and here are the top stories of the day. Israel and Hamas have reached a ceasefire and a hostage deal. It's a major step forward after 15 months of deadly war in the Gaza Strip. The six-week truce is set to begin on Sunday, January 19th. That's when Israel's army will start withdrawing from Gaza. The Rafah crossing between Gaza and Egypt will open on January 25th, allowing civilians to return. If the first phase is successful, talks for a permanent ceasefire will begin on February 3rd. Qatar's Prime Minister has confirmed that Hamas will free 33 Israeli hostages in the first phase of the ceasefire and prisoner exchange deal. The first phase will witness the release of Israeli women, children and the elderly. In return, Israel will release Palestinian prisoners. Qatar, the US and Egypt have spent months trying to broker the ceasefire deal. Celebrations have erupted across the world after the ceasefire agreement in Gaza. Palestinians came out to chant, sing and wave flags. Residents of Gaza's Khan Yunis city lit fires and flares in celebration. They were seen dancing and celebrating on the streets. In Jordan, several rallies were conducted carrying photos of Hamas leaders. Palestinians in Chicago in the US were also seen celebrating with fireworks. Leaders across the world have welcomed the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. Incoming US President Donald Trump hailed the ceasefire and said he will work closely with Israel to make sure Gaza never becomes a safe terrorist haven again. The United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres said that the ceasefire would allow for the smoother delivery of aid across Gaza. European Union Chief Ursula von der Leyen called the truce a stepping stone towards lasting stability. Meanwhile, the Italian government has confirmed that Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will not be arrested if he visits Italy. The International Criminal Court issued an arrest warrant against Netanyahu last November, charging him with crimes against humanity in Gaza. Italy is a signatory to the ICC and is obligated to arrest Netanyahu if he enters its territory. The Yemen-based Houthis carried out a missile and drone attack on a U.S. aircraft carrier in the Red Sea. They claim to have targeted the USS Harry S. Truman and several accompanying warships. The Houthis say they used winged missiles and drones as the American ships tried to carry out operations against Yemen. A U.S. official said that all personnel was safe and no damage was caused to any vessels. U.S. President Joe Biden delivered his final Oval Office address on Wednesday. He issued a stern warning for the future of American democracy. The outgoing president criticized social media platforms for spreading misinformation. Biden also called for stronger regulations on artificial intelligence and proposed term limits for U.S. Supreme Court justices to preserve checks and balances. Denmark's Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen spoke to incoming US President Donald Trump on call. She told Trump that it was up to Greenland to decide on its independence. Frederiksen also referred to a statement by Greenland's Prime Minister Mute Egede, where he said Greenland is not for sale. Trump has refused to rule out military intervention to bring Greenland under US control. Russia launched a barrage of missiles and drones at Ukrainian energy facilities on Wednesday. The Ukrainian military said that Russia launched 43 cruise and ballistic missiles and 74 attack drones, mostly targeting western Ukraine. The Russian strikes were condemned by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Moscow's offensive comes after Kyiv carried out its largest aerial attack on Russian factories and energy hubs. Russia's Prime Minister Mikhail Mishustin met Vietnam's President Luong Quang on Wednesday. Russia seeks increased support from its long-standing ally as it continues to wage a war against Ukraine. Russia says that it is ready to help Vietnam build a national nuclear power industry. It added that both nations will work together to implement joint oil and gas projects. The United States has imposed new sanctions on over 150 companies and individuals supporting Russia in its war with Ukraine. The U.S. State Department said that the targeted entities were aiding the Russian defense industry. It added that these measures would make things harder for Russia on the battlefield. Most of the sanctioned companies are based outside Russia. A lot of them are Chinese. Poland's Prime Minister Donald Tusk has said that Russia had planned acts of air terror against airlines across the world. Tusk also accused Moscow of sabotage in Poland. He said Poland has been countering these actions. Tusk made these statements while hosting Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky for talks in Poland's capital, Warsaw. The Indian Space Research Organization, or ISRO, successfully completed a space docking experiment earlier today. 2 satellites were launched on December 30th. A trial to bring them from 15 meters to 3 meters of each other was successfully completed on January 12th. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulated ISRO for the mission's success. The former Prime Minister of Georgia, Georgi Gakaria, was attacked in the port city of Batumi on Wednesday. He was assaulted at a hotel lobby by about 10 assailants. Gakaria was hospitalized after sustaining injuries on his head and face. His party blamed Georgia's present government for the violent attack. The country plunged into a political crisis after last October's parliamentary election. Georgia's opposition claims the election was rigged by the ruling Georgian Dream Party. It's a claim that the ruling party has rejected. Moving to climate news, in the US, the wildfires in Los Angeles continue to rage, but firefighters have made progress in containing them. The Palisades fire has been contained by 21%, the Eaton fire has been contained by 45%. However, the mayor of Los Angeles said that they were not out of the woods yet. Meanwhile, western New York State is buried under a thick blanket of snow. This is after a lake-effect storm brought relentless wind and snow to the region. Winds sweeping across Lake Erie and Lake Ontario dumped 2 feet of snow in some areas. Meteorologists have warned of more heavy snowfall through Thursday. An extreme heat wave hit Argentina's capital, Buenos Aires, on Wednesday. The city is witnessing record-breaking temperatures. The heat wave has created a sweltering environment for residents and tourists alike. New studies have revealed that the 2022 Nord Stream pipeline explosions released an unprecedented 465,000 tons of methane into the atmosphere. This makes it the largest single-event methane leak on record. The incident occurred in the Baltic Sea amid the Russia-Ukraine conflict. The new methane figures have significantly exceeded earlier estimates of the leak. According to new research, the frequency of climate whiplash events has surged exponentially in recent decades. These events are rapid swings between drought and flooding. Experts say it is driven by global heating. New York City's legal battle against major oil companies ExxonMobil, BP, and Shell has been dismissed by a state court. The lawsuit alleges that the companies misled the public about their fossil fuel products and minimal investments in clean energy. The case accused them of greenwashing through deceptive advertising campaigns. In business and tech news, TikTok is getting ready to wind down its US operations. A federal ban is set to take effect on January 19th. The US says that TikTok's parent company ByteDance is tied to the Chinese government. Therefore, it wants TikTok to divest its US operations. Reports say that US President-elect Donald Trump is likely to exercise an executive order to delay the ban. Reports say that TikTok's chief executive officer, Shu Zi, could likely attend Trump's inauguration. He's been invited to sit in a position of honor, a spot that's typically reserved for former presidents and important guests. TikTok is yet to confirm Shu Zi's attendance. Reports say that Alphabet CEO Sundar Pichai will be attending Trump's inauguration. He joins a growing list of tech titans who will be in attendance at the swearing-in ceremony on January 20th. Other tech leaders who will be present at the event are ex-owner Elon Musk, Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos, and Apple's boss Tim Cook. YouTube and Google will donate $15 million together to aid agencies working to extinguish the wildfires in Los Angeles. The funds will be paid through google.org to several organizations. The Los Angeles wildfires were first reported on January 7th. The damages from the disaster are said to be at about $250 billion. Apple was dethroned as the biggest smartphone seller in China. The Silicon Valley powerhouse lost its position after facing stiff competition from Vivo and Huawei. Apple's annual shipments in China fell by 17%, its biggest ever drop. This is according to a research firm called Canalys. Samsung has announced that it will unveil the Galaxy S25 series on January 22nd. The lineup includes 3 models. The launch will be live-streamed on Samsung's website and YouTube. The physical launch event will be held in the US state of California. Reports say that Canada may impose countermeasures on up to $112.4 billion of US imports. The countermeasures are in response to potential US tariffs on Canadian goods. Canada has a list of targets but will hold public consultations first. The scale of the countermeasures will depend on President-elect Donald Trump's actions. US short seller Hindenburg Research will shut down. Nate Anderson, the firm's CEO, made the announcement of the closure. He added that it was a planned decision. Hindenburg Research, founded in 2017, is known for its investigative reports and short-selling tactics. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Co., or TSMC, reported a 57% increase in fourth quarter profits. The surge in demand for AI processing chips drove the record profit. TSMC posted a net profit of a record $11.4 billion for Q4. Its key customers include iPhone maker Apple and chip maker Nvidia. South Korea's central bank kept its policy interest rate unchanged on January 16th. The decision was influenced by political turmoil, which has weakened the South Korean currency, the won. The turmoil stemmed from the impeachment of President Yoon Suk-yeol and his attempt to impose martial law. South Korea's government also lowered its 2025 economic growth forecast to 1.8% from the earlier 2.2%. Now we move to sports and we start with cricket. India beat Ireland by 304 runs in the third and final Women's One-Day International. India scored a mammoth 435 runs in their innings. Openers Smriti Mandhana and Pratika Rawal fired tons, contributing to the total. Ireland were bowled out for just 134 runs in 31.4 overs. With the win, India have completed a 3-0 series whitewash. The Indian women's cricket team set several records in the third ODI against Ireland. They became the first Asian women's team to score over 400 runs in an ODI. The score of 435 runs was their highest ever total in the format for both men's and women's teams. Captain Smriti Mandhana's 70-ball 100 was the quickest by any Indian women's cricketer. South Africa were dealt with a blow just ahead of the Champions Trophy. Fast bowler Anrich Nortje has been ruled out of the tournament due to an injury. South Africa hasn't named his replacement. The Champions Trophy starts from February 19th. In football, Barcelona thrashed Real Betis 5-1 in the Copa del Rey round of 16. Lamine Yamal was the standout performer for Barca. He scored 1 goal and provided 2 assists. Other goal scorers were Gavi, Jules Koundé, Rafinha and Ferran Torres. Arsenal beat Tottenham Hotspur 2-1 in a Premier League thriller. Son Heung-min gave Spurs the lead in the 25th minute, but Arsenal dramatically turned the game around before half-time. An own goal by Dominic Solanke put the scoreline at 1-1, then Leandro Trossard scored the winner. In tennis, women's world number 2, Iga Świątek, has advanced to the third round of the Australian Open. The Pole defeated Slovakia's Rebeka Šramková 6-0, 6-2 in straight sets. The match lasted for just an hour. Świątek's third-round opponent is British tennis player Emma Raducanu. Tunisia's Ons Jabeur also reached the Australian Open third round. The former world number 1 staged a convincing victory despite encountering breathing issues mid-match. Jabeur clashed with Camila Osorio of Colombia, defeating her 7-5, 6-3. Jabeur next faces the American Emma Navarro in round 3. In badminton, Indian shuttler Lakshya Sen has crashed out of the Indian Open. He lost to Lin Chunyi of Chinese Taipei in the first round. The one-sided match lasted less than 40 minutes, with Sen losing 21-15, 21-10. After the match, the Indian shuttler admitted that his movements were slow. India's HS Pranoy also crashed out early from the Indian Open. He was defeated by Su Liyang of Chinese Taipei in a 3-set match. Pranoy exited the tournament after a 21-16, 18-21, 12-21 loss. Their encounter lasted for an hour and 13 minutes. Liv Golf has named Scott O'Neill as its new chief executive officer. He replaces Greg Norman at the top spot. O'Neill brings 25-plus years of experience in global sports and entertainment. He will lead Liv Golf's strategy, business operations and global expansion. In entertainment news, Indian actor Saif Ali Khan was reportedly stabbed multiple times during a home invasion in Mumbai. The attack occurred at around 2:30 a.m. in the children's room, where Khan confronted the intruder. Medical reports indicate that the actor sustained 2 deep wounds, including one near his spinal cord. The police believe that the intruder was a burglar and an FIR has been lodged. Legendary musician Bob Dylan has made a surprising debut on TikTok, just days before a potential US ban on the platform. The 83-year-old shared a post inviting fans to explore his storied career, accompanied by clips of iconic tracks like a Rolling Stone and Hurricane. The move aligns with renewed interest in Dylan following the release of the biopic A Complete Unknown. BTS member J-Hope has announced his first solo world tour. It's part of the Hope on the Stage series under Hybe. The K-pop star will perform in 15 cities, including 6 US stops, starting with a 3-day event in Seoul. The US leg kicks off on March 13th at New York's Barclays Center. Drake has filed a defamation lawsuit against Universal Music Group. He alleges that the label approved and promoted Kendrick Lamar's diss track, Not Like Us, which accuses Drake of criminal behavior. The lawsuit claims that UMG prioritized profit over artist safety by creating a viral hit at Drake's expense. The suit seeks damages for defamation and harassment, alleging that UMG knowingly spread false and malicious narratives through the song. Animator Buck Woodhall has filed a $10 billion lawsuit against Disney. Woodhall alleges that the Moana franchise plagiarized his decade-old screenplay, Bucky the Wave Warrior. Filed in a California federal court, the suit accuses Disney of lifting several elements, including plot lines and themes from his work. Woodhall claims that Bucky shares striking similarities with Moana. Actor Gerard Butler has revealed the physically demanding nature of filming Zack Snyder's 2006 epic 300. He revealed that injuries were a daily occurrence on set. While portraying King Leonidas, Butler witnessed co-stars suffering from spear injuries, broken ankles, and other accidents during intense battle scenes, though Butler emerged unscathed during 300. Priyanka Chopra is set to star alongside her husband Nick Jonas and his brothers in an upcoming Disney holiday movie. Filming began in snowy Toronto on January 13th, featuring a festive atmosphere as Chopra donned a holiday-inspired outfit. The untitled project will mark the Jonas family's first film collaboration. It's expected to premiere in time for the 2025 holiday season. Renee Zellweger opened up about stepping away from acting for 6 years. She revealed that she needed to escape the monotony of portraying the same emotional experiences. In an interview, the Bridget Jones star said that she was sick of the sound of her own voice. Zellweger, one of Hollywood's highest-paid actresses at the time, returned to the screen in 2016. The Writers Guild of America has revealed its nominees for the 2025 WGA Awards. Here are the highlights. In the original screenplay category, films like Challengers, Civil War and Anora are in the race. In the adapted screenplay category, Dune Part 2, Hitman and Nickel Boys are among the contenders. While in the drama category, The Boys, The Diplomat and Fallout are competing. Conclave and Emilia Perez dominate the 2025 BAFTA Film Award nominations, securing top spots in a competitive field. Dune Part 2, The Brutalist and A Complete Unknown also earned multiple nods. Wicked was notably snubbed for Best Film. Performers such as Cynthia Erivo and Jeremy Strong also received their first BAFTA nominations. That's all for this episode of Fast and Factual. Thank you for watching and stay tuned to Firstpost.